Three-pointer. Bang! Here he comes again. LeBron dumps it. It's a walk-up three. Puts it in.
I'm Scott Patrick in the Dish Studio. If you can't get enough NBA basketball this time of year, and I know who I am, it is time to get NBA League Pass. You can watch the most NBA basketball with NBA League Pass, and even better, let's say you are a Knicks fan who lives in LA or a Lakers fan who lives in New York. You don't have to get on a plane to see your favorite team. And with your NBA League Pass subscription, it includes access on a mobile device and on NBA.com. 'Tis the season right now for the best basketball of the year. Don't take my word for it. Coming up, we'll talk with 3 NBA legends who are working with the NBA as studio analysts to get a preview of the second half of the NBA season. All right, let's start with Greg Anthony on who he thinks will make the playoffs this year. Also, let's get an injury update, as the last time we saw Greg, he was wearing a cast. And also, while we're at it, let's get an update on his son, North Carolina Tar Heels freshman, point guard Cole Anthony. Greg, great to have you back on
Good
Dish.
to see you, Scott.
All right, let's get an injury report. Last time we saw you were in a boot.
Yeah, I am no longer in a boot. I am fully functional. Still can't play basketball anymore, but I get to watch more, so I'll take it.
Not too bad. And your son, how he's doing?
He's doing well. He's recovering nicely. Had a little ding up with his knee. Had a little minor surgery, but he should be back here really soon, hopefully, and can finish the year strong.
Very good. How did the season start for you, and where is it now?
It's been exciting. I don't recall us ever coming into a season with as much transition as we had, as much turnover when you're talking about marquee players. And I think it's been great for the league because for the first time in a while, there is some uncertainty as to who the best teams are, how this is going to play out once the postseason starts. And so from a fan's perspective, I think that creates a lot of intrigue and excitement, and we're starting to see that play out. It also, that transition created a void where you could have some up-and-coming teams that nobody really thought maybe would be relevant in terms of the postseason. You look at a team like Dallas with Luka Doncic and what he's been able to accomplish this year. And so that part's also, I think, been great for the game. You get some fresh new blood. You're starting to create some new rivalries, if you will, and I think it's all for the better.
So this is the exciting time to watch then.
Yeah.
I mean, as a player and as a fan right now, because there's a lot of unanswered questions on who's going to make those final seeds. You've got the top 8 and they all have winning records, the bottom 8 kind of close losing records. And who are the teams you think in that bottom that could soar up and hit that final 8 that we're not seeing right now?
If you look in the West, I'd never discount San Antonio and Portland. Those are 2 teams that are below 500 right now, but their resume and their personnel tell you that they're better than that. And I think they could also be dangerous because, again, when you look at the top, you have teams that, even though they have great talent, they haven't been in those positions in quite some time, if you look in the Western Conference. And so those are teams that I think you're going to see start to make a push. We've already seen Utah start to trend in that direction.
Right.
And one team that I think they still have a chance is Sacramento. They've dealt with a lot of injury this year. Again, in terms of maybe having a chance to get into the postseason. That's a team that I think has an opportunity. I like their young talent. They didn't have Bagley for a long stretch. They didn't have De'Aaron Fox for a long stretch. It's hard to, really kind of tread water with 2 of your core pieces that are really important, but they're also growing. So they've missed out on some experience and opportunity to improve.
Right.
Let's see how it plays out now as you get to the second half of the season. The East is a little more difficult. I don't know that anybody on the outside looking in can get in. I really kind of get a sense you're going to see some younger teams play better. I think Charlotte, with what Coach Borrego's done there, has been one of the more incredible jobs. I did not see them being this competitive. Now, they're still under 500,
right,
but they've been a good basketball team. They're improving. Their player development's been terrific. So I think that's a team that has trended in the right direction. But I think the team that's probably most surprising is the Pacers. They did get Malcolm Brogdon over from Milwaukee, and he has been terrific for them, and they're going to get Oladipo back soon. And they're still right now battling for home court in the first round. So they could be a really intriguing team. And because Milwaukee's kind of run away with it in terms of their record. They did the same thing last year, and it didn't turn out too well. So there's still going to be a lot of teams that feel like when they get that team in a postseason, where you play them 7 times, where you get to game plan, where you get to really focus on tendencies that you don't get to in the regular season, I think they'll feel some confidence going up against them.
Here he comes again.
Who do you see winning right now?
I think the Lakers are going to be the best team. I think the Lakers are the best team. I don't know that they win it because they still have to stay healthy, but they've got a really good defensive team. They had 20 blocks in the game the other night, and their defense is off the charts good. And it's hard to be great defensively in today's era because the court is so much bigger. And you have to defend out to 35 feet. When I played, you didn't have to.
James.
I'm not discounting the Clippers. I think if they can ever get it all together and get some continuity, they could be dangerous. My sleeper is the Rockets, though, because I just get a sense that Russell Westbrook, his best teams were when he was the second best player. When he had OKC, and those teams, but for injury, either got to the conference final or the finals every year. And so this team could be dangerous. So again, though, I want to see how those matchups all play out. In the East, I think Boston has a chance to be the best team, but they're probably one solid big away. But I wouldn't be surprised as we get closer to the deadline if they don't pull the trigger and make a move. But Milwaukee has been so good, and Giannis has just been incredible. So they're the odds-on favorite. And even I think Philadelphia is still – they've played well against the best teams. They've been inconsistent, but they have as high a ceiling as anybody in that Eastern Conference.
Embiid. They just keep on coming.
Now that you have the ankle boot off, are you available?
No. I wouldn't even do a 10-day. Maybe for the G League. I could probably go down, or at least I could put a suit on and go help coach. Do some analytics, maybe that.
All right. Well, you have his number. All right. If you can just talk to the Dish customers as to why this is the best time to get NBA League Pass.
Well, listen, for me, it's awesome for a couple reasons. Now with the smart TVs, I watch it on my television now when I'm home, which is really cool. I mean, for me personally, because I would always have to sit in my bed and watch it on my iPad. But to me, the League Pass, as a basketball fan, the fact that I can take it everywhere I go, as much as I travel. Like I said, if I'm in a hotel room, I'll lay in the bed. I can go through games. I can flip back and forth. The other thing I really like is I can get whichever feed I want. Unfortunately, not everybody has as objective a feed as I'd like to watch. You get what we call in the business the homer feed. And sometimes that can be tough on the ear. The fact that I have the option that I don't have to have that makes it really cool for me. So if you're a basketball fan, it would behoove you not only to have it, but more important, I'd want to know why the hell you don't have it if you're an NBA fan. Because the fact that you can catch every game and you can watch portions of a game, you get the alerts to tell you when something amazing is happening. I mean, you're seeing more incredible plays being made in the game of basketball than we ever have in the history of the game. I was just with Isaiah Thomas, and we're just talking about James Harden as an example. The guy makes incredible look normal. The guy goes out, gets 44, 11, and 11, and it's not even leading the NBA news. Right. The guy's amazing. And so for me to watch some of the stuff he does, my mind didn't even have the ability to be that creative with some of the stuff he's brought to the game. And that's really for a lot of these guys that you're getting the opportunity to see. And you're also getting to see the next wave of truly great players. I mentioned Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the fact that they can do things at their positions that we've, again, never seen before. We haven't seen a guy in the second year get 30, 10, and 10. I mean, right now, he might get the vote for MVP, which, again, for a second-year player, that's just unheard of.
Very true. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
All right, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Coming up next, Gary, as in Payton. We'll get his great trash talk on who he thinks is going to make it in the playoffs this year. But first, let's tell you about NBA League Pass. It is the best way to see your favorite teams without ever having to leave your couch. Catch up to 40 out-of-market games every week. And if you like what you see, we've got a special half-season offer right now. you can get NBA League Pass for just $99 or for easy payments of, let me do the math for you, $24.75. And it's easy to order. Just go to mydish.com/NBA or just give us a call at 1-877-DISH-PPV. That's 1-877-347-4778. All right, need more convincing? Well, let me bring in the guy known as the greatest trash talker in the history of the NBA. Oh, he was also a pretty good defensive point guard. These days, you can see and hear Gary Payton on NBA TV. Gary, it's great to have you on Dish.
Thank you.
Let's start with the tough questions. The best defensive point guard of all time is?
Me, by far. But it's a little different now. When we were playing, you had the Alvin Robinsons, you had the Derek Harpers, you had the Mookie Blaylocks, the guys like that, who would take people 94 feet and turn them. By the time that you get to half court, it was already in the shot clock, about 10 seconds left, and then that's hard for people to get in their offense. I mean, nowadays you can't put your hands on nobody. So that's a big difference because we can hand check you, and when we can put our hand on your hips, we can control you. So that's a big difference of a lot of basketball now, and that's why it's a lot of scoring going on right now.
Sure, absolutely. All right, second hardest question is your favorite player in the NBA?
Right now? Gary Payton II. Yeah, absolutely, by far. Yeah, my son. He's been through a journey, and he's a good kid, and he plays the way that I play because that's what he grew up around. You know what I'm saying? Defense is his mind. He's not an offensive man like I was, but for him to do the things that he do, the journeyman that he did, him and Patrick Beverly, they're my favorite because they went about it different ways, didn't get drafted, and then now they're in the league and they're proving themselves.
Absolutely. Did you always look forward to the second half of the season?
I look forward to all parts of the season. That's why I played 82 games. I didn't look forward just to the second half. I look forward to the first half because the first half dictates what we're going to do in the second half. Because if I set a tone for my teammates, they're going to see me do that for 82 games. They're going to be like, Gary did it for 82 games. He didn't rest. He didn't do nothing. Let's put our foot on their neck and let's keep going until we get into the playoffs and then until we get to a point where we can try to win the championship. That's what I did.
For fans, though, the second half really is a great time. That's why we're here. We're talking about getting NBA League Pass for the second half of the season. What do you expect we're going to see this second half, and what does this season feel to you as we're getting into the second half?
Well, the second half is going to determine what the positioning is and things like that. I think people are getting tired of this load management stuff now. I think a lot of the more players are going to play now because the simple fact is a lot of these teams are jockeying for position. And now that they're losing a lot of games and they're getting behind on a lot of teams that they're going to have to play. And I think it's going to get more exciting because I think a lot of your players are going to start playing a little bit more. But they're getting hurt too. A lot of these players are getting hurt. So I think now that the coaches are going to start saying, let me start playing my main guys. Let's start understanding because we're almost at midseason now. And they're going to have to start jockeying. A lot of these teams have 14, 15 losses. Some people like Milwaukee only got 5 and 6. You know what I'm saying? So you're losing ground. You're the 8 behind. So now I think coaches are going to start saying, hey, we got to pick it up.
Putting it down.
Do we think Milwaukee can make it to 70 wins?
They have a good chance. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They're 32 and 6 right now, and that's only 38 games. And you got about almost 40-something games left. If they do that again, but they'll be, at 70 and 12 or something like that?
Yeah,
they'll be at 70 and 12, right?
Yeah.
They'll be at 70 and 12.
Yeah,
so I think that they can make a run for that, especially with Giannis not taking days off, unless he's really, really hurt, and the way they're playing. And you look at their competition in the East, they're much better than a lot of the basketball teams. Sure. You know what I'm saying? They're much better. Come to the West, you don't know. You might run into a Clipper or a Laker team or something like that, or a Denver team that's going to get at you. But I still think that they can. But in these days, you don't know what's going to happen. Coaches start to rest players at the end of the year. They're not trying to run. It wasn't like the Warriors years ago when they got to 73. They were trying for it, and they were keeping people on the floor. Nowadays, a lot of these guys are trying to get ready for playoffs, and the coaches might, if they got it locked down, I don't think they want to get Giannis to be hurt. His back is really bad right now. You know, and they'll rest some guys, and then that might take a little bit out of it.
Here he comes again.
Oh, goodness.
And the Greek basketball god raining down on the Pistons.
What do you love about NBA League Pass?
Well, that I can look at every game. I can catch the Washington Wizards when they're not going to be on prime time. So that's what I like about it, when a lot of teams that you want to watch are not on prime time. You know, you get to look at the Lakers and all the time, the Bostons all the time, the Milwaukees all the time, but you don't get to look at the Wizards. You don't get to look at the Indiana Pacers. With League Pass, at my house, I got 6 TVs. I got one big one, and then I can go to League Pass, and then I can put them on all different TVs, and I can look at everything that I want to look at. Even if I want to look at my son play on that major TV, and then I can look at the Lakers, I can look at Portland, I can look at all these guys on the other things, and it's great because on League Pass you can go either broadcast. You can go to broadcast of whatever team or the other team. Right. So I can go to this broadcast and I want to hear what their broadcast is talking about their team and what their team is talking about that. So that's fun about League Pass, because you can go to either or and then listen to what their commentators are saying about each team.
Sure. You can always guess, too, within the first 5 sentences.
Who is it? What team that they represent and what channel it is. Yeah,
Who's the homer? Who's the homer?
There it is.
All right, so your son gets the mid-screen and then LeBron's over here.
Yeah. I see LeBron all the time. I can go see him all the time. I can't see my son all the time, so it's good.
Well, he doesn't want to see you since you said he's not going to be the biggest scorer of all time, right? Didn't you say that?
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, that's a lot of points to catch up on, especially when you're in your 20th year. I think he's 5,000 or something away.
Right.
Okay, that means he has to keep at a tilt at about 20-something points a game. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's going to happen. I would hope he will. I would hope he can do that. Anybody hopes anybody can do it. But as you look at it, as you get to 38 years old, are you going to still be averaging 24, 25 points a game? I don't know that. Well, Kareem did it in 20-something years. You know what I'm saying? So if LeBron wants to change his mind and say, okay, I'm going to play 20 years, yeah. If he says he's going to play 5 more years, absolutely he's going to break it. But if he's talking about 2 to 3 years, I don't think that is going to happen, you know, because you're going to slow down. And I don't know if LeBron can take being a role player at that time, because that's what's going to happen.
James off the steal. James with the stuff.
Did the trash talking as a player help you on television?
It did. And then, you know, a lot of things, growing up in Oakland, California, and going to different playgrounds and being a smack talker, you know, that helps you too. That helps you without a fear. You know, some people are scared to talk, and especially in talk in front of cameras, talk in front of people. I can do that with ease. I can get in front of 3,000 people and say a speech. I can do that. I feel more comfortable that way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if a lot of people feel that comfortable, because I think that I get more into it as I go more and more. And then I start speaking from the heart, and then that makes it even more easier, and then a lot of people start paying more attention.
Sure.
They start saying, okay, he's really passionate with this. And I think I'm real comfortable. That's why I went into college and said, you know, I'm getting in a speech. You know, I can get in front of 15, 20 people. That's no problem. I'll make everybody laugh at 15, 20 people. Can you make 3,000 people laugh?
Right.
Can you make 500 laugh? Can you make them be interested? Can you make them sit up there and put their spoons down and put their drinks down and say, I'm listening to Gary Payton? If you can do that, you're very talented with what you do.
Very good. So we wrap up here. Could you trash talk to our customers, tell them why they need to get NBA League Pass?
Well, you better get League Pass, man, because it's the best thing on earth. You hear me? That's all I need to say. Point blank. League Pass. Get it.
I think you might want to listen to Gary Payton. No need to shout about what a great deal NBA League Pass is right now. You can watch like you're courtside at almost every court, and you never have to leave your couch. Right now, we have a great half-season offer. Catch the rest of this season for just $99 or just 4 payments of $24.75. Okay, one more NBA legend on our show, Grant Hill, former Duke star, former NBA star, current co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks, and current analyst for NBA TV. Now, he might have a few words to say about another former Duke basketball player, now playing with the NBA. Grant, great to have you on Dish.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Wearing my Duke blue, or?
I like that, yes.
Actually, I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, so it might be UK. It might be UK blue. You
Might
never
be a
know.
little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But I went to IU, so
Okay.
I missed the 92 shots. But they still
I'm sure
talk
you see.
about
I'm
it.
sure you see it,
Oh, yeah.
or you've seen it since then.
Many, many times, and people are still wearing shirts of your teammates.
Yes.
Yeah, have little statements on those.
I understand.
All forgiven, though. Yes. All forgiven. Speaking of Duke, let's talk about Zion. He's coming back most likely. How do you see the season playing out with the Pelicans if he comes back?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do think he's coming back, and I think it's important that he play. I think for a young player, the idea of sitting out for a year, it's a lost year. And I understand, big picture. I understand in terms of wanting to protect sort of the investment, if you will. Right. But I think if he's healthy, which I think he is, and from looking at some of the highlights recently, he appears to be healthy and on track to getting back.
Sure. All right, so as we look at the second half of the season, what did it mean to you as a player to hit the second half of the season? And then what does it mean for the fans of NBA for the second half of the season?
Yeah, the second half is always fun. And, there's like different tiers in terms of where teams are at. Obviously, you have those teams that are contenders, the teams that feel like they have a chance to win. And then there's those teams that are sort of sliding into the playoffs and fighting for that position 8, 7, 6 seed. And then some of those who maybe don't make it. And then obviously there are those who are preparing for the future,
Right.
And so, but I
on both sides, actually, right?
On both, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's an exciting time because the end is near. Mm-hmm. People are jockeying for playoff position. You think about out west, and there's not a lot of games separating, 3 through 6 in the standings. And so, then teams, making sure they get home court advantage. They don't want to play a certain team in the first round. Mm-hmm. All of that goes on. And then the teams sort of trying to make the playoffs, sort of 7 through 12.
Right.
That's always an interesting time. And so I always say sort of, New Year, All-Star break, like it's a sprint to the finish line. And it's a fun time. So as a player, you look forward to this. It's we're getting close. We kind of know who we are as a team. We kind of have an idea of whether we have a realistic chance of making it to the postseason. And so it's fun. I think it's fun for everyone.
Yeah, it's why you play it, and it's why we watch it.
There you go.
It's the best time to do it. If you could just talk a little bit about, the 7th to the bottom right now, who are the teams you think have a chance to skyrocket in the second half and make it into that final 8 and replace somebody that's in that bottom half of the top 8 right now?
Well, in the Western Conference, I think, there are some teams that, I think Portland, Portland has really kind of struggled. They've been decimated with injuries. A team that, made it last year to the conference finals in the Western Conference. And, now they have a record below 500. They're outside of I think they're maybe a 10th seed, 11th seed. But not a lot of games separate them from being in the postseason. With Lillard and McCollum and Carmelo there and Whiteside. You're just waiting. You get a sense that, okay, they're going to put together a streak of games. They'll win, 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 games. And all of a sudden, that'll leapfrog them. And I think just because they have, they have the players who can put up numbers.
Whiteside trying to bully his way back up and scores.
I don't know if Memphis, it's sort of hard to figure out. I think they're playing above expectations in some respects, at least my own expectations, but they're right there. And then you have to, wonder, is Oklahoma City, who they were 11-24, or had a record that wasn't so great in mid-December, and then they win, 9 out of 11 games with their loss last night to Philly. Can they sustain that level of play that they've had? Because right now they're a 7th seed. Mm-hmm. I still think they may drop out of the playoff picture, and a team may take that spot, move up, and I think that might be Portland.
Lillard scoots inside and scores.
This time where this is great to have NBA League Pass, I assume you have a few TVs in your home. What are the teams you look at And sometimes that's a great thing, like something might be on TNT, but you can watch another team from another area, and some of those games are really exciting right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I watch a lot of games, and certainly a lot of it depends on, the matchups, who's playing who, what teams, or what maybe there's a player, maybe a team like Memphis who doesn't have a great record, but I want to check out Ja Morant and see, if he's as good as advertised. Obviously, I'm vice chairman of the Atlanta Hawks, so I do watch a lot.
It's your job.
A lot of there you go. I like the way that I do watch a lot of the Hawks games, but a lot of the top teams. I mean, the Lakers, Clippers. I watch the Suns. I played in Phoenix, and I know Monty Williams very well, and I watch him. And so there's not, other than the Hawks, there's not one particular team. A lot of times it's just, okay, who's playing? What are the matchups? What are the storylines? What's the narrative in the season at this particular point in time? I think a lot of variables contribute to, sort of what I decide to watch, at night on the League Pass.
Yeah, and I flip around too. I was just talking, I get the alerts on my phone, like a game's really close, and like, oh.
Yeah.
Good call. I'm going there. Who are the duos that, this has been a year of duos. Who are the duos that you like most in the NBA right now, and who would you like to play with if you could play with one player in the NBA right now?
Wow. Well, I mean, we're missing two duos right now. Yeah. We're missing, Clay and Steph, and then, Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I like watching Harden and Westbrook. They're both really unique in terms of how they play. Harden, just his ability to score the basketball and really just dominate a game on the offensive end. And then Westbrook, the pace that he plays with. And, someone said he plays with this controlled rage. But the two of them sort of really being able to coexist and thrive as, recent MVPs. So I like the two of them. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, they're special players as well who really get after it and get it done on both ends of the floor. They're great duos. But I think the best right now to watch is LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Here's James to the bucket again.
And in terms of playing, I think playing with LeBron, I think LeBron just, really sees the game, has a great basketball intellect. Is a winner. And all those duos are great players. But if I had to choose one to play with, it would probably be LeBron and AD with the Lakers.
Very good. Mm-hmm. You throw them the ball, would they throw it back?
Probably not. At this stage in the game, they better not.
All right, if you could just talk to our customers here and just say why they need to get League Pass with this second half of the season.
Yeah. No, I just think it's important. You got to get the League Pass. Second half of the season in the NBA is always the most exciting time of the season for players, for fans, for all that are involved. A lot of jockeying for playoff position, preparation for the postseason. It's a sprint to the finish. It's a fun sprint. It's something we all enjoy being a part of. And this is the time of the year. As a fan, as a former player, as a broadcaster, as an owner, wow, I wear a lot of hats. In all those roles and responsibilities, the second half of the season is by far the time to watch the NBA.
I'm gonna shout it from the rooftop.
Shout it. Tell everyone.
From the rooftop.
This is the place for the best of the game. Let them know hundreds of live games are at their fingertips all season long.
Oh, that's basketball.
Watch all the teams or your team. And of course, you can stream on your phone, TV, or tablet. To order, call 1-877-DISH-PPV or visit mydish.com/NBA for more information.
Our thanks to the NBA's Triple Gs, Grant, Gary, and Greg. The best of the NBA season is on the way, and the best way to watch it is with NBA League Pass. And the best way to watch your favorite hometown team when you don't live in your hometown anymore, like say you grew up in Milwaukee but moved to Denver, you can still catch your favorite childhood team with NBA League Pass. Right now we have a great half-season offer. Catch the rest of this season for just $99 or just 4 payments of $24.75. Ready to order? Just give us a call at 1-877-DISH-PPV. That's 1-877-347-4778. The best NBA games from all over the country, and you never have to leave your couch to catch them all. In the Dish Studio, I'm Scott Patrick.